Hi guys, there are a couple of questions from section 1.8. The first one was number 19. So we have our function f of x is x cubed minus 2x all raised to power 6. So obviously we learn how to differentiate these types of function. These are where we use the extended power rule, because you have a function to a power, except now they want second derivative. So this is f double prime. They're looking for f double prime, okay? So obviously to get the second derivative, this is how we read it, f double prime of x, which means the second derivative. So we're going to differentiate f of x, that gives us the first derivative or just derivative, and then differentiate the derivative, that gives you second derivative. So it's really the same thing except you're doing it twice. So let me start with the f prime first. Obviously in last section we learned the extended power rule. So as you remember, the rule says you bring the power down times the function to the power minus 1, 6 minus 1, which is 5. But again, don't forget, times the derivative of the function that being raised to a power. So here it'll be derivative of x cubed, of course, is 3x squared. And then minus derivative of 2x, which is 2. Okay, so there is your first derivative. So now basically what you have, once you do the first derivative, you do recognize you have a product. The 6, of course, is a constant. I'm just going to leave that in front. So you have product of two functions. So we're going to have to apply the product rule, okay? So f double prime. I'm going to let you do most of the algebra yourself, but let me make sure we take the calculus part. So let's think of this as our first function right here. So we're going to include the 6 with this function, and then this will be our second function, okay? So by the product rule, the derivative or product of two functions is the first function times, I'm going to put the derivative inside the brackets, times derivative of second function. And of course, derivative of 3x squared minus 2 is just 6x. And don't forget the second half of the product rule that says plus the second function, which is 3x squared minus 2, and then times the derivative of the first function. Well, as you recognize, your first function is still going to be a function to a power. So we have to apply the extended power once again to this function. So our, again, 6 will just stay to the front. That's the constant. And derivative of the function to a power, as you know, is the power times the function to the power minus 1, which is of course 4. And then times the derivative of the function, which once again, it will be, I'm just going to put that under here. That will be 3x squared minus 2. So all that will be in the bracket. So it's 6 times 5 times x cubed minus 2x to the 4th power, and then times 3x squared minus 2. So this is pretty much your derivative. I'm going to try to see if I can clean it up a little bit. So obviously you can continue with the algebra. So right now we have 6 times 6, which becomes 36. You still have the x, and then times x cubed minus 2x raised to the 5th power. And then here we have everything is being times together. So 6 times 5 is 30. You have 3x squared minus 2 times another 3x squared minus 2, which will give you 2 of those. So it'll be second to second power or square. And then also you have the x cubed minus 2x raised to the 4th power. Okay guys, so let me just rewrite this again. So if you can see here, we can actually factor. We have x cubed minus 2x to the 5th power. You have x cubed minus 2x to the 4th power. So, and also between 30 and 36, I believe the biggest factor would be I think 6 maybe. Let me try it. So we're going to factor 6, and then x cubed minus 2x. So that's going to be, let me move this up a little bit. So this is going to be to the fourth power, because we have to the fifth power and then to the fourth power. So we'll take that out, and that's pretty much as you can factor out. So as you do that, so if you take 6 out of 36, that leaves you with a 6x. And then you have, of course, one more factor, because you're only taking 4 out of the 5. So we'll just have one more factor of, just make sure you put that in parentheses. And then as you factor that from your second term, well, 30 divided by 6 becomes 5. Also, the x cubed minus 2x to the fourth power will cancel because you're taking the same thing out. So all you're left with is 3x squared minus 2x squared. Okay? So again, I'll let you, if you want to continue this, usually this may be where they stop in the back of the book. But if you can also, of course, square that by FOIL method and then distribute the 5, also distribute the 6x, and then combine it like them. So I don't know how far the back of the book goes, but I'm sure you can finish the algebra. But this is definitely all the derivative. The second derivative is everything has been done. So this should be your derivative for this function. Again, there may be a little bit more algebra you could do, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and stop it there, okay?